Good afternoon. I'm Julie Decker, President and CEO of the FSU Alumni Association, and welcome back to the third episode of our Webinar Wednesday series. This series was planned to offer you guidance from notable alumni and university staff who have knowledge and advice to share in their specialized areas. Many of you tuning in today are members of the Alumni Association, and I thank you for your commitment to this university and to this organization. This series would not be possible without the support of our members. I have the great pleasure today of introducing Scott Maynard and Leslie Millie with the FSU Career Center. Scott is the Program Director for Employer Relations at Florida State University. He has over 32 years of experience in career services, experiential learning, and economic development. He holds a Bachelor of Business Administration degree and a Master's of Business Administration degree from Mississippi State University. Leslie joined the FSU Career Center in 2013 as the Associate Director. She assists in administration of FSU's centralized comprehensive career services, particularly in the areas of marketing, technology, outreach, and assessment, the Garnet and Gold Scholar Society program, and the Career Center's e-portfolio system. Leslie received her Bachelor of Science in Communication and her Master's of Science in Higher Education Administration, both from Florida State University, and she is a proud marching chief. Today, they will discuss the ways to engage current students through virtual career opportunities, navigate unemployment or underemployment, and how alumni can help. They will also outline all the resources offered through our Career Center for students and for our alumni. Thank you for joining us today. We're so happy to have you both here.
Good morning or afternoon. We're glad to be here as well. Leslie and I are excited to be here today to share how you can engage with our current students and some opportunities that you as FSU alums have to engage with the Career Center and really help our students out at this time of need. You know, one of the things that we have found is that securing and retaining a motivated workforce doesn't happen by accident. We work every day with employers to try to help them engage students, build their brand on campus, and really help identify the top talent that is out there from FSU students to help you with your organization or your business to succeed and continue to grow and develop. That intentional process of recruiting is now more important than ever, especially in this virtual environment that we're in. We were all thrown into the world of virtual recruiting, it seems like almost overnight. You as well, with your businesses and organizations, I know experienced it the same as we did and really had to turn and pivot and try to determine exactly how we were going to succeed and help you succeed in this new world. So that's one of the things that we wanted to come and speak today about, how you can currently engage our students and soon to be graduates as they get ready to launch into this new world in a time that is really a little scary to them and a little unknown. So today we want to briefly talk about how to continue building your brand on campus in a virtual way, introducing you and your organization to things like virtual job shadowing, talk a little bit about virtual internships and what that potentially could look like and how that would really benefit not only our current students, but also your organization. And finally, we haven't stopped recruiting. There are still a lot of companies out there that are continuing to recruit hard and heavy. And we want to talk a little bit about exactly what recruiting full-time talent looks like now and potentially may look like going into the fall semester. So one of the things where you as alumni can help us is really right now helping engage with our students. again, nobody anticipated the sudden and dramatic change that these students were going to experience. You know, they left on spring break thinking they were coming back 1 week later, and while fall may look a little different, it wasn't going to be dramatically different. Within that spring break week is when everything really changed. That is the week that we began to pivot our services to a virtual environment as well, and really begin to look at that. And in doing that, we came up with some unique ways that I think we can help organizations still engage with our student population and help support you as well. One of those is to engage with students in a virtual information session about your organization. It's been very interesting as we've now done this for, gosh, almost 6 weeks. The attendance at these events continues to go up and up. Students are a lot more adaptable to this new world of technology than I think some of us were. And now, as we're continuing to market these events to them, they are continuing to engage rapidly. So it is a great way, and again, we can set that up in a Zoom type environment, much like we are on today, where you would be the host of your own webinar and providing an information session to students about your organization and opportunities that you currently may have. The second is to serve as a professional mentor. A professional mentor is a mentor through our professional mentor platform. And at the end, we'll have links to all of this information. But the great thing about serving as a mentor to students, especially right now, is that you can use your experience and your guidance to really help these students as they try to navigate this new normal for them. One of the highlights of our mentorship platform is you as the mentor control the engagement. So you can set how many students you would like to mentor. Could be 1, could be 10. You set the length of time. It could be that you want to engage with a student for a particular topic, just in a one-time conversation. Or you may want to develop a long-term mentorship relationship with a student and carry that out. But you as the mentor would control that environment. The great thing about the platform is that as a mentor, you would fill out a profile. The student also completes a profile, and then the software matches you with the student. The student is the one that engages and reaches out to you, but it's a match made on mutual interest. Part of that profile includes information that you feel comfortable talking about. So maybe it's finance or budgeting, or maybe it's networking or communication skills, or a hard skill, a science. Could be any number of things, but you complete that profile, the student completes their profile, and it works to match you up. The third is conduct some virtual mock interviews. Those again are ways that we can help match your talents with students that are interested in just a virtual mock interview. The information is provided to you as far as how to go about feedback, some tips and techniques. Again, a low impact way to engage with students, but one that is highly, highly beneficial to them. And finally, just doing an informational webinar. Perhaps you have a talent or a unique skill or knowledge about a particular topic that you would like to bring to students. We can help facilitate that, put that together, and market it as well. So those are some things to think about. Another thing that we really are pushing is our Job Shadow, FSU Shadow program. This summer, the Shadow program is going to be in an all virtual environment. So thinking about how you could bring a student or a group of students into your organization in a virtual format is one that we are hoping to engage a lot of interest from alumni to participate in this. We have a few suggestions along these lines. One, you can create a Zoom group information session where we bring a group of students together, and you and perhaps your staff or others host just a group-wide information session. Again, much like this information session that we're doing today. It could be a group Zoom Q&A where you host and have students just ask questions about your business or your industry. And we would, again, facilitate bringing all of those students to you. It could be a single student Zoom with a virtual overview, where maybe you're introducing your company to a particular student, you pass that student on to someone else, just like they were there in person and walking office to office to see your organization, only in a virtual environment. And finally, any other ways, creative ways that you can think of to engage in a virtual format with students, to help them get a picture and an understanding of what your business is. Our job shadow program has just taken off over the past few years. Geneva Scott on the experiential learning team runs that program, and it has really become a popular program. We hope you look at it not only from a virtual standpoint for this summer, and those dates are August 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but also potentially consider doing a job shadow later on as well. We do job shadows in December, in spring break, and then in late summer. So those are opportunities for you to engage with students this summer virtually, but hopefully going fall and spring, it will be in person as well. Again, those are unique opportunities on a one day to highlight your organization to a student. And what we have found, the true benefit of the shadow is a lot of employers will bring a student in for a job shadow, and then, like that student so much, they will make an offer to that student for an internship potentially the following summer. So it's a good way to meet students early on, introduce them to your organization, and then potentially use them as an intern later. Speaking of internships, one of the things that we're looking at this year for summer is effective virtual internships. Are there tasks within your company, your organization, that a student could do in a virtual environment? A lot of us thought, there's no way we can work virtually. But when we had to do it, all of a sudden we did it. Students can do that as well, especially if you have some project-based work that needs to be done. That is an ideal opportunity to have a student do a virtual internship. There are a few keys to making sure that that internship is successful. One, thinking about that student is not going to have the opportunity to meet a lot of people within your organization prior to starting, so they need an internship coordinator. They need a person that they can be their go-to person to directly relate to. The second is choosing an effective platform for the online delivery. Whether it's Zoom, whether it's Microsoft Teams, whether it's as simple as Excel, but finding a way that they can effectively do the work you need them to do and then report that back to you. We talked about be selective in the projects that are chosen. These projects have to be projects that the student obviously can work on, sometimes unsupervised, but can complete in a virtual setting. Also provide online training and feedback. Again, for internships, these are learning environments for the student. They're opportunities for you as alumni to engage with the student, but it's still a real learning environment for the students. So being able to provide interaction online as well as feedback to that student is critical during this time. And finally, we want to encourage you to include that intern in your virtual staff meetings that you may be having, or your planning meetings that are coming up. thinking about what's ahead and what's coming up. So there are effective ways that you can engage those interns as well. If we can help you put that together, we're more than happy to do that. If we can offer suggestions on exactly how that would be structured, again, we're more than happy to do that as well. And finally, if you come up with a program or a project that you need done that can fit into an internship environment, we're happy to assist you in posting that position, advertise that position out, and even set up virtual interviews so you can interview candidates for that position. So anything that we can do along those lines as well, we're happy to do. Finally, recruiting and retaining talent. Some of us you are currently in a hiring mode where you're hiring now. Others are beginning to think about what's on the other side of this pandemic. What does it look like coming into the fall semester? We're all wondering that. We were talking earlier, we really wish we had a crystal ball and knew what to expect coming down the line. Decisions early on had to be made so fast, and now the decisions to restart are all over the board. And so we're trying to all navigate what that's going to look like in the future. One of the items that we have already converted to is virtual career fairs. In fact, there is a statewide virtual career fair that FSU is helping to host coming up in June, and we're happy to get information to you about that fair. And then going into the fall, we anticipate other virtual fairs as well. We don't know what type of restrictions, if we're back on campus, what type of restrictions will be placed on large gatherings. So we are thinking for our career fairs in the fall that we may launch and go virtual with those. So information will be coming out. If you've never participated in a virtual career fair, again, it's really easy. Every organization can have a room that students would opt into to go in and chat with the individual recruiters. There's opportunities to turn that into video chat. It can be in a large group setting, or it can be in individual one-on-one settings. Much like we do with our fall futures fair and our fall STEM fair, we would set up our virtual fair so that there's opportunities to interview students after the virtual fair. So maybe the next day you have an opportunity to interview the top talent that you saw, and we're happy to facilitate that. Again, anything that we can do to help you during this time, we want to be there to do. Other things that you can do currently, post jobs on campus. If you already have an account with the Career Center, you received an email this week about something that we're extremely excited about, and it's our new Knoll Network. It's a brand new career management tool that we are using and introducing to employers so that you can schedule all of your activity and needs through that one software. So that's posting jobs, scheduling on-campus interviews, scheduling to attend events, scheduling information sessions. All of those things can be done through this one platform. So we're very excited about that. This summer and going into this fall, as I mentioned earlier, we can help set up virtual interviews. If you have a position open, want to advertise that position and then set up interviews, we can set those up via Zoom for you so that you have an opportunity to interview the students. And finally, as we mentioned earlier, hosting those virtual information sessions. If you want to have a position and have everybody together to talk about that opportunity within your organization, we're certainly happy to facilitate that and advertise that out for you. One of the things I think that's very important is that as you engage with these students and soon to be new graduates, the same as we're doing, we want to provide a vision and a path for them to see what's on the other side of this pandemic. And I've been in career services a number of years. I've seen a number of economic trends up and down. I've seen sudden drops. in supply and demand for students. And we all know that we're resilient and we'll get through this. These students, in many cases, have not been alive to see an economic downturn that they remember. So to them, it's a more scary time. Anything that we can do to help put them at ease and let them know that their future is still bright, it's just going to be a little slower process to get there. We want to do that. We want to put their mind at ease and let them know that we will all come out of this stronger and better and more knowledgeable in the future. Again, as I said at the beginning, securing and retaining a motivated workforce doesn't happen by accidents. It is a very intentional process, especially in this virtual environment. Just like social distancing, everyone has a role to play. We invite you to help us as we work with these students and these new graduates to introduce them to the world that's in front of them in a positive way. And really, as FSU alumni, reach out to these students and begin that mentorship and that opportunity to engage these students. Our website is career.fsu.edu. There is a wealth of information at career.fsu.edu/info that there's information there for students as well as information there for employers. With that, I want to turn it over to Leslie Millie. Thank you for, again, allowing us the opportunity to be with you today.
Okay, hello, fellow alumni. I'm excited to talk to you today. We're going to pivot a little bit now because we know our alumni are facing some of the same challenges that our students and new graduates are also facing at this time. So I'm going to take you through what some of our alumni career services are. You may not realize that almost all of the services that you had available to you when you were a student are still available to you now that you are alumni. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. First and foremost is career advising. Some of you may remember when you were a student at Florida State, the Career Center offered drop-in career advising. We have been able to provide that in a virtual setting as well through Zoom. So if you need that drop-in career advising, you want to just pop in when you're thinking about us, you can go to our website and you can drop in during the hours of 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and speak with a career advisor right away. If setting an appointment is something that's better for you, or you'd rather just send in your resume or cover letter for a document critique, you can do that as well. The next most important thing that I want to encourage you to do is to make sure that you have an account in our jobs database called Knoll Network. We were previously on a system called Handshake, and next week we are switching to a new system called Knoll Network. It will be incredibly robust. You will see jobs in there that you can look for. You can learn more about companies. They're hosting information sessions that you can participate in. If you don't remember your FSU ID, there are instructions on our website as to how you can obtain an FSU ID so that you can sign up for an account on our Knoll Network system. Another feature that we have recently brought on board at the Career Center is our Professional Pathways and Badges program. And this is a virtual program for building your career readiness skills, or even helping you to think about what career readiness skills you already have so that you can articulate that to potential employers or even graduate schools if you're thinking about going back to school. It focuses on topics such as salary negotiation, resume building, helps you with interview tips, designing what your career might look like, and much, much more. It helps you think about what are those transferable skills that you've picked up in some of your other positions that you could take with you to a future career path. So like communication, leadership, critical thinking, creativity. So those different things that you've gained along the way that aren't necessarily those hard skills that you've picked up in jobs, those soft skills, those transferable skills are going to be important for you to be able to talk about when you're looking for some other type of employment down the road. We are, as Scott said, doing a lot of virtual career fairs. Our website is outlining what those virtual career fairs are, and as alumni, you can absolutely participate in those virtual fairs. We have some guides on our website so that you can learn a little bit more about what that might look like. We don't expect anybody to be an expert in this virtual world right now, so navigating those virtual career fairs is something that we can help you with either through our guides, or you can drop into our career advising and we can talk you through what that process might look like. Also on our website at all time, you will see that we have career guides and Career Center library resources. So on the Career Center website, we always have these guides such as our comprehensive career guide. We have guides on writing a resume, cover letters, building a LinkedIn profile, interviewing, salary negotiation, professional dress, because eventually we're all going to have to get out of those leggings and sweatpants and put on some shoes and a blazer and go out there and impress some people. So go to those career guides and take a look at some of those tips, and we can definitely walk you through any questions that you have as you're going through those different guides and resources. In addition to those career guides and library resources, you'll also find additional job search platforms on top of Knoll Network, because we know that alumni have some different needs than our recent graduates, our students who are looking for internships. Knoll Network is really there for alumni who are up to about 5 years out of school. And so on that Career Center library resources page, you're going to find links to places like Indeed and Glassdoor, and you're going to find other resources that are more appropriate for somebody who's maybe mid to late career. We've also recently implemented something called Candid Career Videos. So if you digest your information a little bit differently, such as through the visual medium, then you can watch these videos that'll take you through a lot of those different skills and paths that our Professional Pathways and Badges program outlines. So if you learn better by watching videos such as this, you can go to our Candid Career Videos and do that as well. For those of you who want to brush up on your interviewing skills, we have a virtual interview platform called Big Interview. And again, everything I'm mentioning here is open for our alumni. And so Big Interview is a way for you to practice that interview virtually, since a lot of interviews might be taking place that way right now. And you'll get that kind of feedback and see how you might be perceived to others, so that you can work on those different things before you are talking to somebody where something really important is on the line that you want. Reemployment resources. I know that many of you may have faced a furlough or a layoff and you're not sure what to do. And so our Career Center website, on that info page that Scott mentioned, has a link for reemployment resources. And so you will find information about how to navigate the unemployment process, how to fill out applications in different platforms that can assist you with that particular topic. So definitely go to the Career Center website if you are needing information about reemployment resources. And then another alumni career service that you might not necessarily think of off the top of your head is, if you are up to 1 year from your graduation, you can still participate in professional mentors as a mentee. So you can reach out to other alumni, especially if you're a very recent graduate, to get different types of advice about maybe a career field or a path that you are interested in, but you have questions about how to actually get into that field. And then I would highly recommend as well building your LinkedIn profile and utilizing the LinkedIn alumni tool to connect with alumni who are working at companies that you're interested in pursuing a position at. You can reach out to those alumni and ask them questions, make those connections. With LinkedIn, it's not necessarily about the quantity of the connections that you have, but the quality. And I think we're up to about 368,000 alumni now. I know that 368,000 alumni. I know that Julie will correct me at the end of that if I got that wrong. But we have so many alumni that you can connect with out there, and that would be willing to help you with your job search, with your career path, and anything else that you might need. So in terms of all of our virtual resources at the Career Center, I encourage you to please go to career.fsu.edu/info, and you will find information about all of these virtual services that we have talked about today. and we are excited to continue to assist you as alumni. Thank you so much, and I'm going to turn it back over to the host now.
All right. Thank you so much, Leslie. Thank you, Scott. We'll get him back on here to start some of our Q&A. There he is. Hello, Scott. Thank you both so much. That was wonderful information. And I think we always get asked, how can we help students? How can we help students? And that was wonderful information. And I often think alumni, because we have had such a great economy, forget we are here for them in a career transition and when they need that sort of support. And that is certainly now more than ever, probably. So I will say we will have 368,000 alumni in the next 8 months. So right now we are at 358,000, which is a vast and very powerful network that we have to connect people nationally and around the globe. And then by the time we get through August and fall commencement, we'll be approaching 370. So we're very proud to work with everyone to make those connections. And I appreciate, you know, when I hear some of these ideas, I think of our board, the alumni board, who is actively signing up for professionals and looking for these opportunities. And I think you've highlighted some things that they probably will take even further. So with that, let's get to some questions that were submitted a little bit earlier. I wanted to ask, and either one of you can take this in whichever order you prefer. What advice can you give to someone who just lost their job or perhaps is interviewing after a gap in their employment?
You want to take that one?
Sure. Well, we could tag team it. So,
Yeah,
I mean, my biggest advice to somebody who's just lost their job, and I actually know a few people who are in this situation already, unfortunately, is to be as prepared as possible before you even start that search. And so that could be making sure that your resume is up to date, making sure that your LinkedIn profile matches your resume, and your LinkedIn profile can actually be even more robust than a resume. But you want to make sure that your information is as up to date as possible, because that's going to be a tool that you can use to reach out to people, make connections. So my first recommendation is preparation, to make sure you have all your ducks in a row, that you've documented everything that you've done, that you feel comfortable talking about and articulating the work that you've done so that you can be your best advocate and sell yourself even more. Scott, you want to add to that for the next one?
No, I agree 100%. I think taking advantage of the opportunities that we're providing as well with the virtual career fairs are ways to help you engage with employers, and the resources that Leslie mentioned on the website. There are numerous job search boards there. Leslie mentioned LinkedIn, and it's one of my favorite tools, especially in this environment, because if you have a company that you're interested in, for example, you can go to your LinkedIn profile, do an advanced search, and type in the name of that company, and then go down to the tab that says schools and type Florida State University and hit search. And it will come back with every FSU alum that has a LinkedIn profile that also has that company listed on their profile. So you have an inside track to see fellow alumni who are working with an organization that you might be very interested in, that you can reach out to just for an informational interview. And that can teach you a tremendous amount about the company culture, what their hiring practices are. And it's a great way to network and engage and utilize your alumni network.
What about people who may be concerned about a gap in employment briefly? What might you advice you have there?
You know, I think the good news is today, that's not going to be viewed in the same way as it may be in a boom economy.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are going to have some gaps right now, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But just filling in that gap and explaining what was happening during that time it is really the key to getting through that, highlighting the positives of what you did during that time. You know, Leslie mentioned all of the online tools as far as the certifications that you can get. And LinkedIn Learning is another place where you can get those certifications as well. So while I may have been unemployed for a time, while I was unemployed, here are some things that I did proactively to make myself more marketable.
Mm-hmm.
When I've worked with people on their resumes, it's amazing to me how often people forget about the things outside of work that they are doing to build their skill set. So whether that's volunteer positions, service work, service on boards, other involvement that they might have, they tend to forget about that and not put that on their resume. And that can be just as valuable in many cases. And when I've conducted interviews and I ask about a gap year, a gap of employment, I just really appreciate transparency and letting me know what was going on and what they were working on during that time. And I don't view that in a negative manner.
Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things as an alumni engagement effort is we want Seminoles to hire Seminoles. We want our graduates to hire our students. You talked about job seekers interested in working for Seminole-owned companies via LinkedIn. Do you have any other resources, or can you reiterate or talk about those resources for job seekers interested in working for specifically Seminole-owned companies?
So with our system that we have at the Career Center, it doesn't necessarily track on, it's not a field that you can necessarily search on. For students who are able to use professional mentors, and for our graduates up to a year out of school, they can participate in professional mentors, and that is an alumni database. So they can absolutely go in there and search by FSU alumni and who they want to talk to and see what types of companies they work for and utilize that network. The most powerful way to do it, again, to reiterate, is through LinkedIn, because that's people saying that I went to Florida State University, that's my university, here's what I do. That's the best way to connect with them. Locally, I know a lot of alumni will proudly display that they are an alumni-owned business, that they are hiring alumni. I think we do that we have an internship sticker. And another thing that would be a great tool is to go back to the Alumni Association website and look at the Seminole 100 and see those businesses that are alumni-owned businesses. And then you can go back to your different job search platforms and search for positions at those businesses, and be sure to indicate in your cover letter that you're an FSU alumni, and that you're interested in working there and you want to keep that connection going. So using those resources will be your most powerful way to connect with alumni-owned businesses.
Julie, it's interesting. One of the most popular stickers at our career fairs are the FSU alumni stickers. And the great thing about those during those events is that students gravitate toward recruiters who are wearing the alumni sticker, because they already have that bond built. I'm not sure how we're going to address that in the virtual webinars, but I will come up with something.
I was going to say, we can come up with something. We see our background here.
That's right.
Now we can do some things, but I do love walking around the career fair and seeing those alumni ribbons, talking to those graduates who are coming back to recruit our students. It's wonderful. And we're thankful when they invest in coming back. That's always fun. You know, you have a ready-made friend, and that's important in the uncertainty of a job search. Let me ask you about the time commitment that you have seen in alumni participating in the mentor program or in the shadow program. If somebody asks, you know, what does my time commitment look like? What can alumni expect?
You know, the great thing about the mentor platform, as the mentor, you control 100% of that. So there are fields that in your profile, when you fill out, you indicate how many students you would like to have access to contact you. You indicate the time frame that you would like to participate. You fill out your profile with your interest and likes, and so that's matched with a student that has similar interest to you, and you also select topics that you're comfortable in talking about. So the mentor is completely in control of that, and it's such a powerful platform that you're not caught off guard when somebody's introduced to you. You know that it's, again, somebody that has similar interest or is interested in learning about something that you're already comfortable talking about.
And with the shadow program, you don't necessarily need to be the sole person at your organization that's with that student for the entire day. Now, you can be if you want to. You can spend that full workday with that student, or you can break up that day amongst other members of your staff, give the student, you know, a different kind of experience, maybe through different facets of the organization. So with everything that we do, it's as much or as little as a time commitment as you want it to be. So that could be the full day, it could be a few hours. You make that determination in advance of meeting with the student.
And it can really introduce them to a new organization and possibilities. So
Right.
I know we always have our shadow students. We miss them over spring break, but we look forward to August, and they get to meet with every member of our team, with every program area, financial clubs, all of that wonderful stuff. So it's a really great program, and I appreciate you all for facilitating that so seamlessly, because it is easy, and they do get the full breadth of experience. Okay, last question, quickly, Leslie and then Scott. What is your favorite FSU memory?
So for Leslie, that's easy. I was in the Marching Chiefs for the 1991 through 1994 seasons. My favorite, best FSU memory is the first time I stepped on that field with 450 of my best friends, and I carry that with me today. I serve on the the FSU Marching Chiefs Alumni Board, and I will they're in my heart forever.
What about you, Scott?
Oh, Whitney and I were talking before the webinar started. One of my first memories of FSU is actually the room behind me.
Yes.
I came many years ago for a visit when I was working in another institution, and this building is a mirror image of another building that I was familiar with, and it just stuck in my head. And it's so beautiful that yeah, it's just a special place.
That's great. Well, thank you both so much for being here. Our university certainly is better because of the dedication and the work that our FSU Career Center provides for our students and our alumni. And every time I talk with you guys, I learn something new. I just think the breadth of the work that you do to serve FSU is astounding. So thank you for taking the time. For everyone else, please remember next Wednesday, our series will continue, and you will hear from alumnus and a director on our board, our National Board of Directors, John Crossman, who will discuss leading through times of uncertainty. And I know that will be one you will not want to miss. And I encourage our new graduates to join us for that as their first official young alumni engagement, because I think that this group will help us learn to lead better through uncertainty. For more information about our resources, our upcoming engagement opportunities, please visit alumni.fsu.edu. At the bottom, you'll see a pop-up for clicking on our specific coronavirus information about our plans, things we have coming up, and we want you to stay engaged and stay informed. Other than that, we will see you next Wednesday. Go Noles.